Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
It's Wednesday. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Hey, baby, how's it going?
Hey, super. How are you?
So far, so good. You know, we don't have a guest on today's program, so we're going to learn about the signers of the Declaration of Independence.
That's
I'm
fitting.
excited. Give a little history lesson. 4th of July, a few days away. It's kind of funny. It's the day that Americans celebrate independence by blowing up stuff that was made in China. So not exactly sure how all that works out. But from China, listen to this. Did you know it was common to shave pigs in China at one point? They would shave their pigs.
They don't have much hair anyways.
Well, but here's why. When it would get really cold, they would take a pig and put him in the bed with them to stay warm. So it was more comfortable if they had a shaved pig rather than one with a little, like, woolly
That's
hair.
disgusting.
So there you go. They would sleep with pigs to stay warm. There you go. All right.
Does it get real cold in China?
I don't know. But you can make your own jokes here.
It got real cold in China.
I'm just waiting for you to say, I sleep with a pig every night.
I wasn't going to say a thing.
Oh, yeah, sure you weren't. All right. Coming up, we got a fun story that we're going to share, and a really interesting thing about parents not getting along. It's all on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com.
If you're selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com. They only get paid if they help you sell your RV. So what do you have to lose? And if you're buying an RV, you got to find the great deals at RVWheelator.com.
Now back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
A couple years ago, would have been, I don't know if this was 4 years ago or 8 years ago, on the scene all of a sudden popped Sarah Palin. You know, up until she was the vice presidential candidate, I had never really heard of Sarah Palin.
Right.
And then she, after that, didn't work out. She got a job with Fox News, and she was let go. And then she got another job with Fox News, and now she's been let go again. Second time in 3 years. The network confirmed they elected not to renew the former Alaska governor's contract. Ran out on June 1st. So that's kind of sad. So she had I don't know what her job was exactly at Fox News. She had a gig doing something, and they're like, yeah, we're not gonna renew your contract. So, that kind of thing happens to people all the time. But when it's on a national scale like that, everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
Think about the time that you were let go, and nobody really knew. once it's in the media, it's like, oh well. That didn't work out so hot. Well, parents just don't understand? Well, maybe not. We're going to chat about the parental code of conduct. That is on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
A Nebraska basketball coach is advocating a parental code of conduct, and he thinks that classes need to be taken before your kids can play sports. Earlier this year, he punched a parent who cussed at him and poked him after a game. While he takes responsibility for his own actions, he says, I hope that incidents like this could be avoided. Believe it or not, this is the actual parental code of conduct. It's sad that we have to put these things in writing. But it says, leave all deadly weapons at home.
Whoa!
Yeah, like you really need to write that down. But that's one of the things that he says we need to have. Do not heckle the other team, even by saying, we need a pitcher, not a belly itcher, some silly thing like that. These are kids. Leave the kids alone. Next, don't wait for umpires, coaches, or referees in the parking lot. Ditto for slashing their tires.
Oh my gosh!
This is really happening in some places. Keep your hands to yourself. This isn't the kids. This is the parents. Keep your hands to yourselves. Next, limit yourself to only 3 beers during the game. That might even be too many, really. Depends on the person. Next, do not ask a 5-year-old if he wants to, quote, take it outside. These are all incidents that really happened. Next thing, do not tell your daughter that she, quote, throws like a girl. Okay. Next, pretend the game is PG, rated PG. Anything that you couldn't do.
It should be. There's children around.
Don't make your kids cry in front of the whole team. These are things from the parental code of conduct. And I'd like to add one item. He says, don't embarrass your child at halftime by making them take their helmet off so you can comb their hair in front of the whole team. So this is a proposed code of conduct from a coach in Nebraska who, after a game, was being poked by a student, or not a student, but by a parent, and being cussed at, and he finally punched him. And he's saying, again, he took responsibility for punching, but he's saying, you know what? I think the parents should take a class, and they should have to pass this before their kids can
I agree
play
with
sports.
that. We have never, fortunately,
No.
had to deal with a whole lot. Our daughter likes sports.
Yeah.
She likes basketball. And
encouraging is one thing, but you can go too far.
Right. I would never slash someone's tires or go after.
Be an adult.
Right.
Pretend like you're a grown-up. All this stuff is
and
really
also
happening.
remember that your children are learning from you.
Exactly. Following your example.
Yes.
And you know all this stuff is true because you heard it on the radio.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain. And this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. A bank teller receives more than just a deposit. Authorities say a man using a drive-thru at a Tallahassee bank deposited $200 and a small bag containing marijuana and cocaine. Police say an employee at the Wachovia Bank called police after this unusual deposit. Officers arrested a 38-year-old man and found the remnants of 3 marijuana cigarettes inside his vehicle. It is not clear why he included the drugs with his deposit. I'm assuming it's because
it was accidental.
It was an accident, or maybe he's just an idiot because, again, he was on drugs at the time. So you never know.
Well, he bought a dime bag. He probably figured it'd be safest in the bank.
I'd like to put this in my account. I don't think that's how it works. All right. Like I say all the time, we joke around and have fun about, people doing dumb things under the influence, but it is no joke. If you have issues with that, seek help and get that taken care of. Coming up, we get your moment of duh. That is on the way. Thank you so much for joining us on a Wednesday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com. They only get paid if they help you sell your RV. If you're buying an RV, you can find great deals at RVWheelator.com. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Some men just can't be trusted to wash their own work clothes, Heidi. A Dutch man left his house without a roof or windows when he decided to remove grease stains from his jumper the man's way by using a whole lot of gasoline on the stains. Yeah.
This is something I could see you doing.
He then threw the jumper into the washing machine where the gasoline reacted with the detergent, causing a massive
gosh.
explosion. Yeah. He wasn't hurt, but his house did need a new roof and now needs all its windows
I
replaced.
wonder if insurance covers
well.
something like that.
I don't know, because it was
an accident.
It was well, you'd hope it was an accident. I doubt that he was trying. Got them stains out of my britches. Then again, we don't have a roof anymore either. So I wonder what kind of chemical reaction happened where there was gasoline and his detergent. There are probably people listening that are going to try that. They're like, hey, 4th of July is coming up.
Do not do that.
And if you do, don't tell me anything about it. I don't want to, because then I'll probably try it too, because I'm an idiot. Hey, your scoop of the day is on the way.
The John and Heidi Show podcast is brought to you by DirecTV.
They have big-time savings going on right now, so you can sign up and save. Get all the details at 1-800-259-7646.
Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com.
Quite possibly the best way to buy an RV or to sell an RV. They're like a realtor for your RV. Check out RVWheelator.com.
And the Dollar Shave Club.
Get amazing razors for $1 a month, and for a few bucks more, they'll bring them right to your door.
Sign up today at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
And now, your scoop of the day. The creator of the pink plastic lawn flamingos, Donald Featherstone, passed away last week. He was 79, had a long battle with dementia. I've always liked those pink flamingos. I've never owned one, though.
No.
Have you ever wanted a pink flamingo?
Not even a little.
Not even a little?
Not even a little.
So you're saying that when I retire, I can't pound some pink flamingos out front?
If you're living on your own, you certainly can.
Well, I plan on living with you then, so let's just keep it going that way. Charlie Sheen went on a rant against his ex-wife, Denise Richards, on Twitter last week.
I saw that. As much as I like Charlie Sheen, this was inappropriate.
He slammed her and said she's the worst mom alive. Yeah. And he said she is an evil terrorist sack of landfill trash. So that is.
So now I'm sure that she
That is an evil thing
There's
to say.
two sides to every story, and I'm sure that she has done something to him to entice this sort of a response.
But either way, whatever she did, does that seem like a rational response?
No, well,
I don't think so either.
No, I mean, I would respond that way depending on the day.
You would,
and I have responded that
not
way.
like that. Not on Twitter. Not on a public platform.
Responded very publicly.
If you're going to say something, you say it to their face. You don't say something like that that's just wrong. Hey, let's move on. A new study indicates that just about everybody is doing it. You know what that is?
What's that?
Checking personal email and surfing the net while they're at work.
Well, duh.
That includes
people are doing
the
that.
boss too. So bosses out there, you're also being watched. R. Kelly Garrett, one of the study's authors and a professor at Ohio State University, says the study finds personal internet use is not limited to slackers. It happens to many, many, many people. What do you think the most common, I don't have the answer to this, but what do you think the most common slacking website is that people go to?
Facebook.
I would guess that too.
Yeah.
I don't know, because like I said, I don't have a...
I mean, a lot of companies have blocked it now.
Well, and I know there was a company that, a client that I worked with, where they had blocked Facebook, but then they had their own Facebook page for that company, so they had to unblock it so they could put stuff on there for themselves.
Right.
So it was kind of this catch-22. They're like, we don't want you messing around on Facebook.
Well, and anymore,
like,
even if you block it on the company computers, people have their own cell phones.
Yeah, but they're like, hey, we need you to update it for the company. So I guess you're going to have to mess around on Facebook. What were we talking about again? Oh, yeah, over here. Moving on. Deep in a secure laboratory just out of Washington sits the federal government's heaviest smoker. It is a half-ton hulk of a machine, all brushed aluminum and gasping smoke holes like a retrofitted piece of equipment used on an industrial revolution production line. It can smoke 20 cigarettes at once, and it concludes which they are unsafe because they are counterfeit cigarettes. They're unsafe merely because they are cigarettes, but this thing burns up counterfeit cigarettes. So this is what the machine is designed for. It's a giant machine that if they find counterfeit cigarettes...
You kind of stumbled your way through that whole thing, so I don't really know what
I thought maybe I faked it enough that you believed half
of
what I said.
No, not even a little.
A giant machine...
So they have a machine that just, all it does is burn up counterfeit cigarettes.
Yes.
What is a counterfeit cigarette?
It's a cigarette that is claiming to be a brand cigarette because they get a lot of money for those things.
Uh-huh.
So people make them and then say that they're that brand, but they're not really. So when they catch them, they burn them up in this machine, 20 cigarettes at a time. Wow, that was kind of a hard story.
Yeah.
In a survey by Solutions Research Group.
You really pulled it off well.
Yeah, I know. It was hardly noticeable.
That was
they found
pretty impressive.
63% of BlackBerry and smartphone owners have used their device in the bathroom. That was 63%, which leads me to believe
that the rest of them are big fat liars who lie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that means that there's like 37%.
Liars.
Whatever. And our strange law from Jonesboro, Georgia. It is illegal to say, oh boy.
Oh.
It is illegal to say, oh boy.
I bet they can't watch Quantum Leap then. He says that
we've been watching that.
End of every show.
Yeah, that's the beginning of every show too, the way it all works out. So there you go. That's in Jonesboro, Georgia. All right. Thank you so much for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by Rough Tough Kennels.
If you have a puppy or a big dog, Rough Tough Kennels has something that's just right for you. They have kennels that are strong enough that I can stand on top of them, but they're cozy enough for your furry little best friend. Learn more and see the different sizes available at roughtoughkennels.com.
That's RUFF. toughkennels.com.
We don't have a guest today, but what we do have is something I think is really special. Independence Day in the United States is coming up this Saturday. Now, when you think of Independence Day, you think of who? Who do you think of typically? When you think of, the Founding Fathers and Independence Day, you think of people like George Washington and John Adams.
I thought you wanted just one. I was like, wow, you think of all of them.
Yeah, you think of the Founding Fathers. Now, Thomas Jefferson and John Adams might come to mind because not only were they presidents, but they were also the only U.S. presidents who actually were the signers of the Declaration of Independence as well. Now, it's difficult to imagine that any of the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence might have been celebrated during their lifetime, because now they're celebrated. They're on coins, they're on bills, things like that. Influential and affluent people, these men were so well thought of that they were given the power to declare freedom from the greatest empire of its time. But don't think for a second that these 56 men didn't understand the risk that they were involved in when they were leaving the British fold. During this time, each day this week, so the rest of the week, tomorrow and Friday. We're going to be sharing some information about these guys. Really, really cool. It's the forgotten, not the forgotten, but the, what was it called? The fate of the Founding Fathers. That's what it is. They had this new country that they were putting together. They had hostile soldiers that were occupying their towns and even their homes in many cases. And the new country had no money, nothing. So they had to pull all this stuff together. And many of the signers loaned the United States, this infant country, millions of dollars for the cause of freedom. Their personal wealth, their reputations, their very lives were put on the line, and they had committed high treason, and they were in danger, Heidi. So when you think about this, they were nowadays, you'd probably not call them founding fathers. You'd call them terrorists, because they were saying, hey, we're not going to go with the flow. We're breaking off and we're doing our own thing. I'm really glad they did. Mm-hmm. We got a great nation out of the deal. But listen to this. It's the final line. We mutually pledged to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. That's the last sentence that Thomas Jefferson wrote into the Declaration of Independence. Sadly, for some of the signers, these were forfeited as a result of the bravery that they shown. 9 of them paid with their lives. Almost 1 in 3 lost their fortunes and their homes, yet none of the 56 signers ever recanted their decision to sign the Declaration. They never apologized for it, even under duress when they had the chance, when they were being held hostage by the British soldiers, and they're saying, hey, take it back. They're like, I'm not taking it back. Maybe that's not what they said. I don't know if they said stuff like that back then. It was probably, ye take backeth thy... You ever notice how they always spoke so eloquently? So the forgotten founding fathers... And I'm going to share just a couple of them today, but we're going to share the rest of this. There's several pages, and it is absolutely amazing to me. So we're going to share just these first few. The fates of some of the mostly forgotten founding fathers. William Ellery from Rhode Island, a vocal opponent of slavery. His entire estate was burned to the ground.
Wow.
One of the names on that. William Floyd from New York. Escaping the British invasion of New York, they left behind their home and their entire income. It was burned to the ground. 7 years later, the family was destitute. They had nothing. That's what they gave so you and I could have freedom. Francis Lewis of New York. His home and his estate on Long Island were destroyed by the British. He and his wife were captured. She died from complications related to their imprisonment. So that's what they gave so we could celebrate. So this weekend, as you're blowing up some stuff and having fun with the fireworks, or even if you're going out to watch fireworks, I'm not saying not to enjoy it. You should enjoy it. But keep in mind what price was paid so we could celebrate this Independence Day. And like I said, we'll share more of the forgotten founding fathers throughout this week. We don't have any guests this week. We decided to do this instead, and I think it's going to be kind of a neat thing, a little history lesson each morning as you're getting ready for the day. Thank you so much for listening on a Wednesday. You're tuned in to the John and Heidi Show. Are you excited about this? You're just kind of looking at me like I'm nuts right now.
No, I like that. I like that.
I think it's going to be really neat.
I think it's very cool.
So I got pages of it. I hope I can get to all of it between now and the end of the week. So again, that's to celebrate our nation's birthday, which is coming up this Saturday. Right now, it's a Wednesday, and we appreciate you tuning in to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Today is a very special day, Heidi. You know what today is?
What is today, John?
Today is Wednesday, the 1st of July. Can you believe it? It's July.
I know. Wow.
I don't know how that happened, but it did. We were looking the other way, and boom.
And the rest of the summer will go by just as fast.
It will. Today's Canada Day. So I'm not sure why, but happy Canada Day to you. National GSA Employee Day. Second half of
What's a GSA?
I'm not sure. Government Security something. I'm not sure. I thought maybe I could just sneak that through and you wouldn't ask. But thank you for always putting me out there and making me look like a fool. I appreciate that. Second half of the year day. Today starts the second half of the year. U.S. Postage Stamp Day is today. And Zip Code Day is today. So whatever day you're going to celebrate, none of these sound like a whole lot of fun to celebrate.
No, it's not really an excuse to party.
Usually we have a good one. You can lick a stamp. All that fun. Yay! Yeah, I need a drink to get that stamp flavor out of my mouth. Well, it is a day to celebrate nonetheless. It is the first day of July on this Wednesday. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com. They only get paid if they help you sell your RV. If you're buying an RV, you can find great deals at RVWheelator.com. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
A new device may allow you to talk on your cell phone without ever running out of power. That's cool. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you say?
I suppose.
It's not a new battery. It's a new pair of boots.
What?
The electric boots or shoes have an an energy dynamo inside the soles, and they generate power and then release it into a controlled way to power a phone. The shoes, developed by Dr. Jim Gilbert, are so powerful they can also run personal stereos and computers and heaters and navigation systems. Gilbert says about 3 watts of electricity are needed to power a cell phone. The trick is for the shoes to be able to generate enough power without requiring the person to walk any more than usual. So the boots will undergo an endurance test with a walk in the desert to see if they'll be able to work under extreme conditions.
So when you walk in them, they generate...
Yeah.
Oh.
If successful, the shoes could be used by military units in the future. They have plans to market them commercially as well. So the neat thing is, as you're walking, you are burning energy, but this is a way for you to recoup some of that energy in your shoes and turn that energy into power that you can then turn into something else. So
that's
it's kind of a neat idea.
Fascinating.
I have a watch. I don't even know where it is.
How does that? So do you plug something then into your shoes?
Yeah, you'd have to plug something into it to transport the energy from here to there. I don't know how that's going to work. If there's a cord that comes up your leg.
USB.
I'm not sure. But I have a watch that you bought me several years ago at Christmas time. I love the watch. I never wear it because I don't wear watches. But it has a thing. It's a self-winding watch.
Yes.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I first got it, I set the watch. I didn't know what self-winding meant. I had no clue. So I set the watch, and I wore it to an event. And then I didn't wear it for like 2 weeks. And when I put it on again, I was like, oh, it's wrong. That's not right. So I had to reset it. Every time I would do it, I had to reset it. And then I found out it was when you move around, there's something in there that winds it. I was like, what an awesome idea.
Watch.
So they took that concept, they put it in shoes to power your phone.
That's fascinating.
There you go. People are always thinking, these people are so smart. What an amazing time we live in. Coming up, we're going to talk about the grossest excuses of all time. So that's on the way. It is an amazing time.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
All right, if you're looking for the grossest excuses of all time, we might have them here. Veteran New England mobster Anthony St. Laurent was recently arrested again in Providence, Rhode Island on loan sharking charges. As with previous arrests, he tried to convince the judge that he could not spend time in prison because of his special colorectal condition, which requires him to take 40 enemas a day.
Ew.
On top of that, it seems he also claimed his condition had worsened, and now he needs to have his stool removed bi-weekly.
Ew.
Interesting note, technically bi-weekly means once every 2 weeks, but it's often incorrectly used to mean twice a week, which is what he meant. But that's his excuse for not... You can't put me in jail. I think they say you committed the crime, you go to jail no matter what. And if you have all those special conditions, that's fine. You can do those, but at your expense. Otherwise, sorry. So
yeah,
that is very bizarre. So that might be the most disgusting excuse of all time to try to get out of... I might use that to get out of jury duty. All right. Thank you so much for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club.
You can get razors every month for just $1. And for $2 more, they'll bring them right to your door. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more.
That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
It was supposed to be the happiest day of their lives. Instead, their wedding day ended up with a brawl. That's never good.
No.
Police were called in when a fight broke out at a wedding in Westlake, Ohio. The fight started when the bride's father introduced his new son-in-law by the wrong name. That's not good. It ended with about 10 police officers trying to calm the guests down. The bridegroom's father and a friend of the groom were charged with drunken, disorderly conduct. Nobody was seriously hurt. So I wonder if it was intentional that he was calling him the wrong thing?
It was probably an ex-boyfriend's
or
name
what exactly
that he
was
said
going
or
on.
something in it. infuriated him.
I don't understand why. If you're going to fly off the handle like that on your wedding day, just imagine what this marriage is going to be like.
Yeah.
That's not going to be good. I remember I used to be a wedding DJ. I would play music, and I remember one time at a wedding when the bride and groom were dancing, they were fighting with each other, like yelling back and forth. And I had the music loud enough that other people couldn't hear it, but the speakers were pointing out. They were pointing away from me. I heard all this stuff they were yelling at each other about. I just thought, wow. Hope this all works out.
Did it?
I don't know. I didn't follow up to ask. It's not like I touched base.
I thought maybe you knew them.
I was your wedding DJ 10 years ago. You guys still together? Never really did that. Well, thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Interesting story here, Heidi. 2 sheriffs are suing a man for slander.
Oh.
After they had to beat the man up and send him to the hospital. 2 Frederick County, Virginia sheriffs pulled over who they thought was a drunk driver. They broke the truck's window, sprayed the man with pepper spray, beat him with batons.
Oh, my gosh.
And had a police dog attack him, leaving him with multiple bites and an extended stay in the hospital. Pretty harsh for pulling over a drunk driver, huh? Well, it gets worse. The man they pulled over wasn't even drunk. He was
gosh.
He was in a diabetic coma. At this point, you'd think the officers would feel sorry for their actions, but no, the whole fiasco sparked a grand jury and Justice Department investigation for the two Virginia sheriffs, and now they are suing the victim for $68,000, claiming that his complaints about the incident have hurt their careers, which it has. So it sounds to me like everybody involved lost on this deal. So, the guy, if you're having a medical condition, you need to let him know that. If he was
in a diabetic coma, how do you let him know?
I don't know. I don't exactly know what you do.
And what on earth would require that kind of force? I mean,
have no idea.
He was in a diabetic coma, it's not like he was resisting or fighting them off in any way.
Again, I don't know any of the details on this at all, other than that it happened, and it's really sad that it happened. But here's where I think, again, if you love one another, if we could just live by those words, love one another. It sounds like they took this they maybe took a harsh line on this. Don't know why. And I have no idea what color they are or he is or anything. I don't know if their race has anything to do with this. It's not mentioned in the story. You'd think that if it was, that they would have been parading that through the whole story.
Course.
But the sad thing is, nobody wins on this deal. Nobody. So it's just really sad that it happened, and that's going on in Virginia. Mm-hmm. Coming up, we're going to tell you the odds of a whole lot of different stuff. Things you probably don't even want to know. The odds of you crushing your finger with a hammer. Things like that.
Oh.
We have the odds on the way. Thanks for listening to this odd program on a Wednesday.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by Rough Tough Kennels.
If you have a puppy or a big dog, Rough Tough Kennels has something that's just right for you. They have kennels that are strong enough that I can stand on top of them, but they're cozy enough for your furry little best friend. Learn more and see the different sizes available at roughtoughkennels.com. That's
RUFF. toughkennels.com.
According to the book, Danger Ahead, The Risks You Really Face in Everyday Life by Larry Loudon, there are a lot of different odds we can talk about. How about this? Your TV will catch fire sometime this year. The odds of that? 1 in 7,500.
Yeah, those are pretty...
You'll be forced to leave your home because of a flood. 1 in 4,000. You'll crush your finger with a hammer. The odds? 1 in 3,000. Your doctor is not really a doctor. 1 in 50.
What?
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah, that's a bit weird. You'll have to have an operation that requires a hospital stay sometime this year. 1 in 12.
Ooh.
So if you're with 11 other people, one of you will be in the hospital at least sometime this year. Your elderly mother will come to live with you. 1 in 9. Your next meal will be from McDonald's. 1 in 8. The odds your children hate school. 1 in 3. And here's a disturbing one. The odds you'll have some sort of mental problem in your lifetime. 1 in 2.
Yeah.
That means one of us. It's going to be her. It's going to be crazy at some point.
But it says some sort. That kind of.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that could be anything.
All right. How about, do you want to hear your odds of dying from different things?
Sure.
Your odds of dying from a fireworks injury. 19,556 to 1. I don't know how that works out exactly. From shaving, 6,585 to 1. Injury from mowing the lawn, 3,623 to 1. Fatally slipping in the bathtub, 2,232 to 1. Drowning in a bathtub, 685,000 to 1. Being killed on a 5-mile bus trip, 500 million to 1. How about the odds of being killed sometime in the next year in any sort of transportation accident? 77 to 1. I'm not being transported anymore. All kinds of other stuff on here, like drowning, car accidents, being murdered, 18,000 to 1, all of these different things. I can tell you this. The more I know about these odds, the less I want to do anything. I just want to stay home now.
Just stay in the house.
The odds of you dying at home alone. Oh, no, that's not good either. All right, that's going to do it for today's program. Thank you so much for listening. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening on a Wednesday.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. We were just talking about your odds of dying from shaving, 6,585 to 1. So you got pretty good odds you won't cut yourself while shaving and get, mortally
That would have to be a pretty deep cut.
Yeah, but I suppose if you're cutting like right along, I shave right over the top of my jugular vein.
But
if you
now if you were using a straight razor, maybe that would happen.
And a lot of people do. They'll go to a barbershop to get a straight shave. I wonder how many people die getting I don't think I'll ever get one of those. I can tell you that. So anyway, we were talking about the odds here just a while ago. But moving along, the bonus break, again, brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. If you want to learn more about those guys, go to the website, dollarshaveclub.com/radio. There you go. Now, your bonus break. Got some jobs where women make more than men. They've struggled to get equal pay for equal work, but too often it seems ladies come up on the short end of the salary scale. However, the roles are reversed in 10 fields where, according to CNNmoney.com, ladies make more than guys. You excited to hear about this?
Oh, sure.
All right, here you go. If you want a bigger paycheck, ladies, you should take a job in one of these 10 categories, like telephone operator. Women ring up an average income of $22,000, a little over that, while men in the same job only make around $18,000. How about a meter reader? If you want to be a meter reader, you make about 15% more than men do as a woman. $36,000. Men make about $31,000. Motion picture projectionists. Ladies make about $35,000 something or other, 27% more than men who only bring in about $27,000.
Really?
Library assistant. Women average $23,608. Men in the same job make less than $19,000. It's only $18,512. A funeral service worker. Women tend to really do well in this. They make over $30,000, while men make only $24,000. I'm not sure why any of this is. Does this make any sense to you?
No.
Food batch makers. Ladies are ladled out an average compensation there of $27,872, while men in the same category only $23,000. So they're $27,000 to they're $23,000. Crossing guard. Women make about $18,000 a year when men only make about $16,000. Construction trades helper. Ladies earn an average of $26,900 while men only bring in $21,700. How about human resource assistant? Women on average make over $30,000 where the male counterpart brings in about $28,000. And the final of the 10 categories, gaming services worker. Women who roll the dice in this field average about $24,000. Men, only $22,000. So I'm not sure how all of that works out, but those are different categories from CNNmoney.com that say ladies make more than men in those fields.
I see.
I wonder how it works out in radio. You make more than I do, don't you?
I don't think either one of us makes anything.
That's right. On average, we make $0.00. And Heidi makes a little bit more than that. All right. Are we done, or do you want me to share one more story here?
No, I don't care. Whatever you want to do.
I don't know how to say this. Thiboux? Thibodaux. Thibault, Louisiana. Thibault. Sounds like an exercise.
Okay.
I'm going to go do some Thibault. Anyway, in Louisiana, a robber with a thick Cajun accent couldn't get the restaurant patrons to understand his demand for money. Frustrated, he finally just whipped out the gun, but then it wouldn't fire. He then grabbed the cash register and he ran, but he only got 3 feet because it was plugged in. He went to unplug it. That's when one of the diners decked him and called the police. So he was not having a good day. So, can you imagine being there for that? Y'all give me your money. What now? Y'all give me your money. What? Give me your money. Oh, wait. Is that Boomhauer? What is going on here?
Oh, man.
Fine. I'll pull out my gun. That doesn't work.
Oh, goodness. That's funny.
All right. And one last thing, because it's on here. How feasible is it for us to travel to the stars like they do in Star Trek? Fact is, a spacecraft traveling at the speed of light, it would take over 4 years to get to our closest star. So I'm not saying we couldn't do it, but I'm just saying you better pack a lunch because it's going to take a while. This is going to do it for your bonus break, brought to you by DollarShaveClub.com/radio.